Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the htxt Africast. My name is Brendan Lotz, and joining me in studio today is Clint Matos.
Hello.
Hi, hello. Is that all you have to say, Clinton?
It's weird that
We
now,
have a camera.
Yeah, we're in. I was going to say we're in another dimension, but we didn't move from 2D to 3D. We're just film now.
Yeah, we went from audio to audio-visual. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Are we supposed to look into the camera, Brendan, or are we supposed to look at our laptops?
We're supposed to break the fourth wall and look directly into the
Okay.
lens.
Oh, that's like 16 walls.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, from now on, the htxt Africast is going to be available as a video on YouTube, as well as an audio podcast through the usual channel over on our site, htxt.co.za and htxt.africa, which is working. So you can find all of that there once a week. You can listen and see our lovely faces now.
Well, just our faces. I don't know about that adjective. You can speak for yourself.
Okay, enough of us talking crap. Let's go straight into the first thing that we have on our list for today,
This is very
which is a
weird.
brick of a mouse.
So I've been complaining for years now that all the mice that manufacturers make are too small. Like this, I've had this SteelSeries Sensei for a long time. I got it really cheap, and it's tiny. I mean, I don't have big hands. I've got really long, weird fingers. So all mice feel too small for me. So the other day, somebody told me about the ASUS Spartha. So I got in contact with the local reps for ASUS, and I was like, "Hey, can you send me this?" And they did. And you know the saying, "Be careful what you wish for."
Yeah,
This thing is just. It's a
huge.
monster. It's so big and ridiculous. So first thing they're taking out of the box, aside from the size, is that it's actually wireless. So the dock, we'll get to that now. So it has a port here that you can put a wire, and in the box you get a braided cable, even though our review unit didn't get that. So you can do it that way, but you can also do it wireless, and that's where this is. This is a wireless receiver and a charging dock, and even this is big. I can't
huge.
believe how big this is. I don't know if on video because we're far away, but you can look up the like the dimensions of this, and it's magnetized, so you can just put it on, and that's very nice. There's two big problems with this. First of all, this, even though it's pretty sturdy, there you see it comes off this base real easy, and you can like have it just like that, and it actually has not feet, but it has some rubber here, so it won't move around too much, and you can like put it there, and then.
but that's not as flashy though.
Yeah, that's not as flashy. You want it standing up and looking cool, and then you can see the light and everything. So it's not great when it's standing up. It's a little
Finicky.
worrisome. And the second thing is, this is the wireless receiver. You don't get a little like slimline dock, or this is just normal Bluetooth and you plug it in.
Yeah.
You need this.
So it's a proprietary
Well,
technology.
Not even worrying about like how it connects. It's that you need something physical. So if you think, I want this really big mouse to take with me with my laptop in my laptop bag, even though that wouldn't be a good idea, which we'll get to, you need to bring this with you. So this is very much a at-home wireless solution. So that's
I'm looking at the size of this receiver, and I know I used to have a Razer Mamba that used to have a similar sort of thing with the dock that you put it in, and it was also the receiver, and it was quite big. And the reason I no longer use that mouse is because of the wireless receiver. Number one, it's terrible. Like even at close range, I experience massive lag. And just the mouse disappearing all of a sudden. So I used it wired the entire time. I now have a Razer Orochi, which I believe can also be wireless, but that's Bluetooth rather than just a wireless technology. What's this thing like as a wireless mouse with the receiver?
So it's pretty good. Like you said, the range, I was surprised by how little range you're getting. So I've got a big PC case. I put this on top of my PC case because it has my PC case at the top has a tray, like just a flat spot to put stuff. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. You put it there, you get a little wire, USB to connect it. And this is like the distance, I think it's like 1.5 meters. I was having a lot of problems like that. I put it at the end of my desk, so it was about a meter away, like in a straight line. I was still getting problems because my hand was in the way or something else. So I had to move it like less than a meter in like this direction. problems because that's quite far, and second of all, this has a little indicator light, which was kind of bothersome. In all the marketing material, they have it like kind of there.
Yeah.
So maybe that will work better, but
that's directly in front of your mouse, though.
That doesn't fit anywhere on my desk. I just have stuff there, my router and my fiber box and everything. So that's not great. But let's talk about the actual mouse. It is much bigger and much heavier than I thought. I mean, like, you put it in your hand. Oh, it's so big. It feels like a trackball mouse that doesn't want to be moved. It's that heavy and that big. And taking out of the box, that's a problem because there's no way to change the weight. There's no removable weight here. And there's no additions or extra thumb rest or anything. If you go on the website for this, under the 3D printing tab, there's actually a page where they give you different finger rests, and you can 3D print 3 different ones. But not everyone has 3D printer. I mean, like a tiny portion of the world's population has that. So mostly out of the box, it's just going to be this. And if it's not good for you, it's not good for you.
It's a little bit too big for me. I'm just
it's a little bit too big for me, and I've been asking for better mice. That being said, the quality, like the build quality, is fantastic. It's nice and clicky, and here's something weird. We didn't get this, but this is in the retail ones. You get 2 extra Omron switches to replace the ones that are in here.
So as time goes on and they fail, as things do.
Well, even though like the Omron switches, they never fail. But
in the unlikely event that an Omron switch fails.
So there's 4 like rubber toppers here.
Yeah.
And underneath those are screws, and you get the special screwdriver. You need to take them off, and then we'll put a picture. It's real. It looks real cool, and you can see the insides and everything. And you can easily switch them out. There's no soldering or anything. They're just hot swappable. So that's cool, but like I said, build quality is fantastic, but once it's in your hand, it's so big and so unwieldy. I still haven't gotten used to it in about a week that I've had it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more time I'm going to need to use it before my hands like that's just a normal mouse. That being said, after using it for a week, I had to put it away to bring it in today, and I went back to my other SteelSeries mouse, and it's just like, oh my lord, it's so small. It was such a shock to go back to this. Something that's really interesting as well, aside from the huge size, is that you get a lot of buttons on the side there.
You do. There's like, 6 buttons there in total
on the side?
There's
2, 4, 6. I have some problems with these. I like the first 2, the big 2 on the top here. I use those for opening new tab, and then I can't remember. I think I use paste for the other one, or cut. I think I use it. The bottom one's also really nice. These middle ones, for some reason, are much softer, so you can feel them. The buttons don't all have the same tactile feel.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. This one's like you can easily press it by accident.
And the other ones can't. So I don't know why they've done that. I don't know if it was unintentional in the manufacturing process, or it can't be to help you locate a button, because you need to do location before you press it down.
Yeah. And these 2 buttons that are next to the switch here,
those are just anything.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just more.
So you can program all of these buttons.
You can program them all. It's got RGB. People always want RGB, and it's the last thing I look for. It's got RGB. It's got macros you can program.
Aura? ASUS Aura?
I don't know.
I'm sure it should.
Yeah.
We'll check.
So, I don't know. There's a lot I like about this. I'm so glad there's a mouse this big. For people like me, I've been complaining, even though I think it's a bit too big. I love the build quality. I like this, even though I don't love it. It's kind of ridiculous. And here's something really interesting about this. So I got about 4 to 5 days of like 12-hour use out of this, which is really good. But that's on a single charge. I think the benefit of this cradle is because it's so easy and actually so much fun to put it into it.
Yeah.
You're going to be, if you're going to leave your PC to like take a call or something like that, I found myself wanting to put it on the dock.
Just because you're not at your desk.
And also it's like if I'm going to sit down to watch a long YouTube video where I can like press K to play or pause, I can just pop it on the dock. It feels like it's something where you'll just remember, I should put it on the dock to get some extra charge, and then I'll take it off. And if you keep doing that, I mean, it could be weeks or months before you need to charge like actually put it here, and then you don't use your PC and charge it. I I don't know how much I can recommend it. I think more than any other mouse, you need to try before you buy.
Yeah.
Go to a trade show or go to your like local place that has one and they're willing to like open the box or whatever and try it. Because if a mouse is too small, I mean, it's a little uncomfortable, but you'll get used to it. I don't think this one, if you have a certain type of grip style or certain size of hand or certain way you want to play, and it doesn't gel with you, I don't think any amount of use will ever get it working with you. If you've always wanted a big mouse, this may be more than you can chew. You may bite off more than you can get. And also, it's really pricey. I don't have the RRP, the local RRP for it right now, but I know it's a premium priced mouse. So,
well, I mean, considering that it is wireless, you get a charging dock with it. You get
the 2 extra switches.
Yeah, you get a nice carry bag with it.
Oh yeah, you get I'll grab it here, or maybe we'll put it in post. But you get a nice little carry bag for it and the dock and everything. Yeah, it is
a premium product.
Yeah, it's a premium Marmite mouse.
You'll either love it or you'll hate it.
I really do suggest if you've always wanted a big mouse, you give it a try beforehand, or just look up the specs of your mouse, the dimensions, look up the specs of this, and you'll kind of be shocked at how much bigger it is. But I don't think I did that before I got this in for review. I did that, and I was still shocked by how big and how heavy it is.
I think it's also because it's quite a tall it's not really that tall, actually.
But I've always wanted that. It is taller than the average mouse. Yeah. I've always wanted a tall mouse. Something I would have liked if it was longer that way, or that way, obviously. Because I kind of want my hand to be kind of
able
higher.
To rest on it.
Yeah, well, more of my hand, like just towards there, like that. That would be like my ideal mouse, but it is really tall. And also, like, you're going to have, if you lift off, like if you're playing, if you're an esports professional, that's going to hurt your wrist. That's real heavy. It's really well made. It had, like, the designers had a singular vision of something to make, but I don't think it's for everybody. And that's going to be this is like the first of our video reviews, I guess.
Of the Razer Spartha.
No, the ASUS Spartha.
You're
gonna have to edit that out, otherwise the people will be angry.
No, it's fine. It's now the Razer Spartha.
It's the ASUS ROG Spartha. If you want to look it up, it is available in South Africa. I don't have the local RRP. Maybe at Rage. Rage is coming up. See if they have these on the floor. Give it a try.
Or maybe it's going to be at Rush.
Yeah. Don't know.
This weekend.
Oh, is that a segue, Brendan?
No, well, not really. We'll talk about Rush at the end of the podcast, though. What I want to talk about now is what we were busy doing this weekend.
Which is this video.
Why we are now filming video. So we were invited to I've got to get the name correct. The Content Creators Workshop that was organized by the Content Creators Collaborative. It's organized by a couple of firms called New Reality, MSI, Plantronics, and Canon South Africa. So what they did is they invited a couple of media people, influencers. I really hate that word, but people from the media that talk to consumers and taught them how to make videos. Very, very simple. So we went down to Braamfontein on Saturday at the crack of dawn. It was 8 o'clock.
It started at 8. I know you had to wake up earlier because you live further away, but it wasn't the crack of dawn.
For me, it was the crack. I saw people cycling. I never see people cycling on a Saturday. Never.
When you woke up,
the high noon.
When you woke up, was it still dark?
Yes, it was.
Okay, it was still a little bit dark when I woke up as well.
So anyway, we went down to Braamfontein and to the 18th floor of a building. There's probably only one, so you all know where it is now. And we learned about video production and video editing and everything to do with video. It was really, really informative. It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was 8 till 5 for anyone wondering. It was 2 days of 8 till 5, even though, as we'll get to later, I couldn't show up the next day.
And what it really showed me is how intense filming a video is. Yeah. So at the end of the weekend, I put together a 4-minute video, and that 4-minute video we had filmed for an hour on the Saturday.
Yeah.
I then went back on Sunday and filmed for an hour and a half filmed B-roll, and all of that went into a 4-minute video. And for me, that was the big eye opener.
So while you're doing that, talking about like the length of time it made to do this is something that comes up when I'm writing about 3D prints and people tell me how long it took to do the modeling. I think you have to make a distinction between us who are noobs, and we don't know how the software works. A lot of the time in the beginning you're going to be spent is fumbling with the software. Once you get proficient, you'll do it much quicker. And we were in the class for editing, and the guy who was doing it is an editor by trade.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, just do this. And then I was like, but whoa, wait. He like edited a clip together in like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And I was slowly going there, like press V to bring out the cutting tool. C. And then you press V to go back to the pointer. And he's just quickly like, he was like going so fast. So when we say it took us like 2 days of 9 to 5 to do one video, or you did because you finished it.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, you can get it done much faster.
Well, so here's the thing, though, is that you could, but then you got to take into account filming your shots and planning your shots and planning your script and doing all of these things. Now, I mean, if depending on your degree of proficiency in either of those things, it might be faster, it might take longer, it might take less time. If you have a good camera and you have all the shots that you want all laid out, it can take you a short amount of time. But for us that are noobs, I mean, it was really like, okay, here's a camera, here's software, off you go.
Because we weren't just making a video, we were learning how to make a video and making a video at the same time. So we're trying to do two things at once. And the reason I just want to bring that up is like if you go watch a video on YouTube, it's not that every 4-minute video is going to take, 18 hours to make. Sometimes there'll just be a lot of videos on YouTube. Sometimes are just like, we just shot it on a phone and the audio all at once and we uploaded that. So the 4-minute video took 4 minutes to make. But then you get some people like, when I did an interview with someone named Shami who makes video game content, he tells me, like a 10-minute video is 100 hours of work. But then that's different because he spends more time doing the script. Like the script is what takes him the longest. And then he records gameplay footage, which is different from like actual recording footage with the camera. So it's different. It depends what you're doing. It depends on how many wacky effects you want to put in. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched a channel called Brutal Moose.
Yeah.
So Brutal Moose does like really what you'd think would be simplistic things. Like he now has this thing called Brutal Foods where he tastes like fast foods and then he cooks weird recipes and everything. And you think it's just going to be like a camera and he's going to sit down and eat the food. But he puts so much work into the editing and doing interesting visual things that when you watch one of those, you're like, that took a hell of a long time to do. And then like even a cut that is like less than a second long where you need to do, like object tracking. I think it's called ray tracing and stuff like that. Like a second's worth of footage can take you an hour to make look good. So it all depends on what you're doing. And it took us a hell of a long time, but hopefully like somebody else would do it faster.
So one of the things that was nice to learn was that once you understand the basics, it becomes pretty easy. Depending on your degree, it all depends on the person ultimately. Let me just put that out right in front. But for me, because I've used editing software, I edit the podcast every week, and I've been around audio editing most of my life. It was really easy to get to grips with something like Adobe Premiere very quickly.
And you also understood, like, you cut a clip and you move it along the timeline and you got a cut.
The basics.
Like, you knew what that was.
So, and I understand the lingo and that sort of thing. So it becomes really easy from that standpoint. It's just a matter of just like learning it.
Yeah, you need experience.
And then from there, one of the most important things I learned, which was on the Sunday, which you weren't there for, unfortunately, just chatting to some of the guys from New Reality and some of the other guys that were around there, like Byron from MSI and guys from Canon, is that it's literally a matter of going and doing it. Like going out there and filming something, putting it together and putting it online. You never know what people are going to think of it.
Yeah.
And especially here in South Africa, we have such a love for storytelling in this country, and yet very few people are doing video. But I think what holds a lot of people back is you look at the big names on YouTube. You look at the Casey Neistats of the world and the... what are those two brothers that are no longer relevant? It doesn't matter because they are no longer relevant. But if you look at them, it's very easy to get dissuaded.
It's like learning an instrument. You're going to go watch Slash play the guitar. It's like, I'll never do that. Well,
if you practice
probably not. But if you put in like, if you put in 100,000 hours into anything, you become like a master.
Something like that.
So, I mean, maybe if you put in 100,000 hours and then you're not the same as Slash, well then yeah, maybe, but like you're not going to pick it up and be any good.
Yeah.
What's it from Adventure Time? The first step to not sucking at something is sucking at something.
I don't watch Adventure Time.
Neither
so
do I, but it's a famous quote.
But so, that's exactly it. It's like you got to put yourself out there and take a chance to do it. And who knows, maybe you get something really good. Maybe you do suck. But I guarantee you that the first video that Casey Neistat made sucked.
So that's what I wanted to mention. A lot of YouTubers, when they become big, they usually go back and delete their old things.
Yeah.
But for some of them, go to their channel and like scroll right to the beginning of their channel and see the first uploads and just see like the quality.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have been doing it for years before like 720p and widescreen was available. You go look at something that's 480p in a 4:3 aspect ratio and you're like, no, that doesn't look good at all. My camera will do that for me, make it look better by default.
Yeah.
So yeah, another saying being so... it's
so
like,
deep.
Don't compare your work in progress to somebody's finished product.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it is disheartening and it does take a bit of time. Like in the class, I was trying to do stuff, and then not the teacher, but whatever he was teaching the class. He would go ahead, and I'd be like, oh, I've only got like one shot. So yeah, and then a lot of people also don't want to do it because they don't have the hardware or the software or everything. Like we were using 16,000 Rand camera bodies, and then it had an even more expensive lens, and then it had an expensive power zoom. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then it had a big tripod, and it had a good mouse. And then we were using really good laptops with a paid version.
7.
Yeah, we had everything we needed, but like when we go home, even though like you and I probably have more than a normal person would have, but everyone has a phone. There's lots of free editing software out there.
Especially for phones. You know? I mean, that's the thing, is use what you have. And I know a lot of people, but I don't have a camera. Like, we don't have a decent camera either. We're using a video camera to film this off right now from like the 1990s or something.
Not the 1900s.
And we're recording audio off of a desk and all that sort of stuff. You make do with what you have, and you create something, and who knows, maybe it's really good. But yeah, you can read all about the workshop on our site. There'll be a link, as always, at the bottom of this post.
Also, another thing, don't just go buy a camera and then think you're going to be a YouTuber. So the reason we say that is not like to dissuade you or anything from doing. It's just that this is for any hobby. If you're getting into a hobby, don't buy the most expensive stuff, because a lot of hobbies people give up after a month.
Yeah.
And AV stuff is notoriously expensive.
The cameras we were using are 16 grand just for the body.
Yeah, just for the body.
Plus then you add a lens on top of that, because you can't use a camera body without the lens. SD cards, batteries, all these things. It starts racking up very soon. You spend 20K and you don't even know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, rather use something that you have. Use what you have at the moment. Neistat, Peter McKinnon, every single videographer on YouTube will tell you the best camera you have is the one. The best camera around is the one you have on you at that moment.
Yeah.
So it was a really good workshop. You can read all about it on our site.
And more importantly, you can watch the video, Brendan.
Yes, you can watch it at the bottom of the post and cringe. Wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, so check that out and start making video. We're Africans and we need some African storytellers. So do it. Right. So the last thing on the cards today, games.
So I need to add some prerequisites here. I have to explain what this is and why I'm playing it. So there is not an expansion. There's a piece of DLC called Mooncrash for Prey.
Yeah.
And it was announced at E3. It's not a free update. It is paid for, even if you already have the game. And it's not an extension of the story from the main game, as far as I can tell, which we'll get to in a second. It is a standalone first-person roguelike, which means every time you play it will be a bit different, and that's why I'm playing it. I didn't like Prey when it launched. After it launched, it had a demo. I played through the demo, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't bad. It's just it wasn't for me.
It's one of those games that it's like, I don't really care for
that's
this.
why I love when they have demos, so you know that before you buy anything.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play Mooncrash because I will play anything that claims to be a roguelike. I have a hobby game, Into the Gungeon. It's a weird day on Earth when I don't play that game. Like every day I power that up on the Nintendo Switch or PC, because I have it on both, and I have at least one run like every day. So whenever there's a new roguelike, I want to play it. So how was this one? it's a mixed bag, and that's because it's a first-person game. The problem with first-person games in roguelikes is that it's permadeath. You die, you have to start again. And in a first-person shooter, you're always going to take damage, and you're not going to see where it's coming from, just because you have a field of view, and you can't have a 360-degree field of view unless it's top-down, which a lot of roguelikes are. So booting this up, it looks fantastic. I mean, you'll see in the footage, I think that footage I had to record for you is like set to low.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have the best graphics card right now. It still looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so good. The atmosphere and the sound is kind of scary. You'll see, I didn't record my mic. I didn't have it on. But at some point I get hit by something called like a moon shark or something. And I was really low and I was running away from it. And then as soon as like everything was quiet, my suit was like health low. And the way it did it was so creepy. Like the voice, they chose like a voice actor to creep me out. Like health low. And I got such a fright just from that. So the graphics and the atmosphere are great. The pacing, like the gameplay is very slow and methodical. I think that's maybe because I've only put in a few hours and I'm not proficient yet. I can't just fly through a run. Like an Into the Gungeon, I can just like go through it fast. The objective of this one is that you're on a simulation set on the moon, and you need to escape the moon. That's how the name. The Mooncrash. You crash on the moon. You want to get off the moon.
Yeah.
And the way it does it is, it's kind of strange. You start off as a crew member, and then even if you escape, you need to go back and replay to unlock other crew members, and then you need to use those crew members to use different forms of escape from the moon.
Okay.
Like the first one, and I think it's the easiest one, is just to power up a shuttle and leave. And I did that with my one guy, and I was like, oh, that was easy. And then the game was like, no, there's like 5 other ways. You got to... And then you can also run out of crew members. So there's like 2 different types of failures where you can just have one crew member die, and then you can have total failure where all the crew members die and you need to start again. I am enjoying it, even though I didn't like the demo for the original Prey.
Yeah.
My problem is when it comes to like a recommendation, because... I don't know who I can suggest this to, because if you loved the first Prey, which was very story focused and was very much a kind of System Shock kind of game where you unlock new stuff and then you can go back to old areas and get different places. I don't know if they're going to like this kind of shorter experience with a different focus. And then for roguelike people like myself, I don't know if I can suggest it because... First of all, you need to buy the single-player portion of the game. You need to buy the base game, and then you need to buy the
DLC.
The DLC, and it's a lot of money, even with the Steam sale going back on. And I know a lot of people who just won't play first-person roguelikes anymore because they've been burned so many times. I've been burned. I was looking so forward to Strafe, that wasn't very good. And then there was City of Brass, which wasn't very good. And then there was a few more, and none of them have been particularly engaging. So I'm going to put out a few extra hours into this. Initial outlook looks good, but I don't know if I can recommend it yet. I'm sure anyone who's like an absolute diehard for the first Prey has already bought it, probably. But yeah, it's very interesting. The setting, it looks great. Gameplay, it's still fun, and the way it sets up like your progression, like you get experience points and you can go back and spend those. You'll see in the video. Before you can set out, you can buy stuff to use in your next run. And it's kind of risk reward because, it gives you a bonus, but if you die like 2 minutes in, like I did, you've now wasted all of that because it didn't get you further in. And then there's some mechanics I'm not too sure of how they work. So you get psi mods, which give you like telepathic abilities or stuff like that.
Sort of like Bioshock style.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one I have is just like, I think it was called Psychic Shock or something. I just make a small explosion. And I didn't understand because I unlocked that on my 3rd play, I think. But then I had it unlocked for the rest of the time. And I don't know how much stuff carries on like that. And I don't know how much stuff doesn't. And that's the part of roguelikes. That's you don't know stuff unless you look it up or you play and you figure it out on your own. And then I don't know how much there is permanent changes in the map. So the first door you get to in the game, it doesn't let you through unless you kill some enemies in the area. And after I did that a few times, that door was just always open. And I'm not exactly sure what triggered it to be always open. I think it's because I finished that, I got to the escape pod and I left. But then after that happened, a giant enemy spawned in the middle of the map called the like moon shark or something.
Yeah.
And I saw some people on Twitter complaining that it kills them every time. And yeah, that happens to me. I'm 1 minute into the run, I get there and he does like 99 damage out of 100 to me, and then I have one
HP left.
Yeah, so
thank you, Dark Souls.
yeah, that's a part of these games. You need to learn how those mechanics work. And again, I keep bringing up Into the Gungeon. I see a lot of comments on that game saying I can't get past the first boss. I've played 20 hours of this game. I can't beat the first boss. And for me, I can flawless the boss because you need to flawless him to get an upgrade, and I can flawless all the bosses in the game in 40 minutes, and some people are saying it takes me 30 hours to get to the second boss and I can't beat him. So it's experience, it's how much you look up. It's going to be a grind sometimes, but I think the setting and the atmosphere and how interesting it is, I think there's also like kind of meta narrative about you as an operator going into these simulations, or I think you're kind of like working off a debt to this company so you can leave and go home back to Earth.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. You look out the window in your little pod floating in space and there's the moon. It's just real cool like that.
That's very awesome.
Yeah, but it is expensive, and you never know with these roguelikes. They might just have like a wall in terms of
completion.
Completion, and then like the difficulty curve. It might just be a wall. Like it might just be a wall within an overhang. It might be really bad. I haven't put enough hours into that yet, but this is like my quick review, I guess. Promising,
initial impressions.
Yeah, promising. Keep an eye for it. Maybe watch some videos, and then you can make the decision.
Cool. So I think that's going to do it for this edition of the htxt Africast, our first video, and a triumphant return back to the website. Sorry, we have been quiet for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, things have been going on.
Ooh, there's some special stuff happening soon. We'll share that news with you when it's time. We're not ready just yet to reveal that stuff. So
next month, maybe.
Yeah. July, maybe we'll tell you.
Yeah.
If you're good, if you behave.
Nothing burns down.
For now, though, that's going to do it from myself, Brendan Lotz, and from Clinton Matos.
Bye, everybody. Did you almost forget your name there, Brendan?
I did almost forget my name. Cheerio, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.